We love taking old pieces and transforming them into something modern and up-to-date and useful. Our plan is to cover the front of these drawers with some cane and put a little trim around it to kind of modernize it, and we are inspired by a West Elm piece.
We're going to start by removing this trim piece underneath the dresser top, and we're using little painter tools and putty knives, and we're just going to hammer up underneath the edge of it and pry it loose. And we found out that they were just secured with nails, so they did pop off pretty easily. We also want to streamline the edge of the dresser top a little bit, so we're using those same tools to pry the top of the dresser off, because we plan to just take this piece to the table saw and square up the edges. Be a lot easier than trying to cut it off with it attached to the dresser. We just set up the fence on the saw and ran each of the sides through, and it took that decorative edge off, which really just helped make this look a lot more modern.
And this piece was made by my grandpa more than 60 years ago. And these handles were actually, the poles were actually handmade by him too. So a unique piece for sure.
I do kind of feel sad changing this dresser up a little bit, but nobody else in the family wanted it, and we were just saving it from the landfill and making it a little bit more modern. So we are using those painter's tools again just to pry these handles off of the drawer fronts, and we are saving them because we might come up with some clever way to use them in the future. But for this modern dresser makeover, they've got to go. And some of them were chipped and broken anyway, so it's gonna be better. With those removed, we are just scuff sanding the drawer fronts a little bit. We are using an 80 grit just to take it down a little bit quicker. And we're just removing any brush marks from the previous paint job, just smoothing things out so we'll get a nice smooth finish with this new look that we're going for. So we did this on the drawer fronts, the dresser top that we took off, and then also the body of the dresser.
Okay, we are going to use our Bondo putty to fill in the imperfections in this dresser. So we've got a few little spots here and there. If you've never worked with Bondo before, it finishes, when you sand it, it just gives you the most beautiful finish, and it bonds so good you don't have to worry about it chipping out later or falling out. It's just a great product. Okay, we had some chipping that was along the bottom of the dresser, so we're just going to fill in all of this. Now, you cannot use Bondo if you want to stain the piece. This only is going to work if you're going to paint the piece. And this dresser has been probably dropped or something somewhere along the way because it is cracked. It's still structurally sound, but one of the sides has a nice big crack down it. So we really wouldn't be staining this in the future, and it's had a couple of coats of paint on it already. So it won't be a problem to just put a coat of paint on this dresser.
Bondo hardens really fast. Within 15 minutes, you're ready to sand. You can start with an 80 grit to get it leveled off a little bit faster, and then go over it again with a 220 to give it a more of a fine finish. So we're just sanding everything down, prepping it for our paint.
All right, we have got this all prepped now, and we're ready to reattach our top. So we're just going to add some wood glue, and then we'll place our top back on and then just shoot a couple of brads up in it. Probably just wood glue would work, but we just want to secure it so it's nice and square while we start working on the rest of it, and we don't have to worry about it shifting. All right, before we begin painting, we're just going to take our tack cloth and wipe down the whole surface so that we don't have any dust remaining. We are ready to paint. We are just using some black chalk paint, and this is actually one we've had on hand for a while. That's great to use something you've already got on hand. You don't have to buy anything new.
And normally with chalk paint, you don't have to prepare the wood like we did, but we were just trying to smooth out the previous paint lines, and of course, had to smooth out the Bondo and all of that. So that's why.
Yeah, we had all that sanding to do. But you know what? What was it? About an hour worth of sanding?
Yeah, not so bad.
Not so bad.
That included applying and waiting for the Bondo to dry too.
Yeah. So, okay, we have to tell you a funny story about this. So last night had taken the top off and we were cutting it down. And you know, we've been working around this piece for a while. It's been sitting in my garage, or my basement for how long? A year at least.
At least
A year when it got delivered back to me. Anyway, so we were cutting this top and it smelled like my grandma.
Yeah, it was weird.
She liked to wear perfume.
Yeah, so you say smell like grandma. I mean, she smelled good. Okay.
She did smell good. So yeah, it smelled like her perfume, and it wasn't like stinky perfume. It smelled good, and it just brought back.
But it was so weird because it didn't smell like
before
it. Yeah, to have the dresser there. It was when we cut in the wood.
Cut into the wood. It was weird that you could just smell that. It was just like I was back in her bedroom. That was kind of a fun little. Oh, you dripped.
Okay.
I'm actually very happy that we are using this dresser because Grandpa made it.
Yeah.
And
Nobody else
it's
in
a
the
shame.
family
Nobody wants
wanted it, so
Nobody wanted it.
we had to do something. Now that the chalk paint is dry, we are going to give a light scuff sanding. It just helps give us a nice smooth finish in between our coats of paint. But it really did cover pretty good for just one coat. So we're not, trying to take paint off or anything.
We're just giving it a light sanding over the whole thing.
Yep. I just had to show you how pretty it is out here today. You can barely see the leaves changing up on the mountains. It's a beautiful time of year. Now we're just gonna take the tack cloths again and wipe off any residual dust, and we will do our second coat of paint.
Okay, this is the last coat of paint. We will check back in tomorrow morning and see how it looks.
Well, sometimes things don't go as planned. Can you see all this textury, yucky,
Brush marks.
Like, guys, we are better painters than this. It's embarrassing. But see, we
can't-
wanted to show you this because not even we are exempt from problems, and we're going to show you how we're going to fix it. And it wasn't especially hot yesterday,
It was breezy.
and so I think it was just drying really quick.
Too fast.
And so we're going to fix this.
We just took our sanders out again with a 220, smoothed out any of those paint ridges, and we have a new method we're going to try, so we'll see if this works.
So we're going to try these new rollers that we found. They're supposed to be for cabinets, furnitures, and the different thing about them, they're not completely smooth like we've used before. They're a little bit fuzzy, and you're supposed to wet them first and then load your roller up with paint. So we're gonna see how this goes. It's got to be smoother than what we had yesterday, so here we go.
Directions said to apply it in like a V pattern and then fill in from there. So we're just getting really nice coverage. This looks so good. I'm happy that we kind of had that accident because this is just a lot smoother finish.
And look, it's faster. Why didn't we start with this first?
Because we didn't have any rollers.
We didn't have.
We were just,
Any
sometimes
rollers.
you don't want to go to the store.
Yeah, and we were
You
using
just,
what we had.
We was using what we had, and I can't
Sorry.
reach that with your arm there, so I'm going to let you get it.
Sorry.
It's okay. Live and learn. Hey, I like this roller, though.
I found the cane we're gonna use on Amazon, and I tried to find just enough that would do our project without having too much waste, because this can be spendy And there were a lot of different sellers on there at different price points, but I got this 24 width by 5 feet for about 50 bucks. So what we're gonna do is roll it out and then put the drawers on top to help us cut the cane to size so that we can make the most out of every part of it. So
fairly close to the
yeah,
the
I
edge.
planned to do it this way just for the length of the drawers. So I'm just gonna cut these to a rough size right now, and then we can fit it a little better after.
Yeah, basically you can just follow the grid lines once you know where you're cutting.
Yeah. All right, if you've never worked with cane before, you need to wet it so that it can be a little more flat, easier to work with. So I just laid them all on top of each other just to take up less space in the tub and just weighted them down. And this is our third time using cane. We first did the built-ins in our basement and then the desk in my dad's office. And we have actually really liked working with it. It's not as hard as you think it is, and it looks really cool. I'm excited to show you how easy this really is to work with. So you can see that it's laying out a little bit more flat. It's still wet. As it dries, it's going to shrink a little bit and it's going to tighten up so it will dry nice and flat. What we're going to do now is bring it in to the drawer edge just a little bit because we plan to put a little piece of that wood trim right on the edge to cover up our staples. So I'm just going to line it up so it's straight, and we're going to cut this down to size. Here's our jets. It's a big flying day today. I just want to show you what we're going to use.
And if you don't have a pneumatic staple gun, just your regular kind, just
Right, the ones you
squeeze.
just push. But I just wanted to show you how small the staples were. They're not super long. We just need it long enough to penetrate the wood and hold the cane into place.
Yeah, we got this little staple gun when we were reupholstering something.
It's just so
It's
nice.
so much
It's
easier
faster,
than squeezing
and you don't
a handle.
Yes, it doesn't hurt your hand after a while.
And it's cheap. That was less than $20.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you can hear me over the air compressor, but pretty much you want to make sure that you get every part of the weave stapled down. That's really important because you don't want one little piece coming out and the whole thing could unravel.
which, as she's saying that, I noticed I missed one right here and one right here. So
And
we'll come back and check it.
yeah. But really, it's easy to do.
It is.
It takes a little bit of time, but it's easy. Look how much more elevated and modern this looks already, just having the cane on. And obviously we're not done because we're gonna cover all the staples, but I'm so glad that we didn't have to fill in this gap either. And you know, where the knobs were, it doesn't look great, but you can't even tell. Just having it painted black underneath did the trick. Can't see those grooves at all.
We are ready to put our trim piece around our cane, and so we're going to measure. We've got this decorative little edge here, so we're going to actually put our trim molding up here on this corner here on the wood. So we're just going to line it up with the top of that and then come over here and take a measurement, and we are at 28 1/4. Okay, we'll just double check, see how square it is.
We have our saw set up to a 45-degree angle, so we're gonna just cut this edge off first. And then we're going to measure from that outer edge 28 1/4. Right, that was it?
That was it.
Okay, just checking.
Okay.
And now we need to move that angle over here to a 45.
All right, we're just going to take measure from both outside corners, and it looks like it's 10 inches. Okay, so once again, we're just going to measure the outside edge, and we're going to mark it at 10 inches.
Okay, now we're just gonna do a dry fit to make sure the corners line up.
Yeah, let's see how we did.
Really good. Okay, we do have like a perfect fit now. You just wanna make sure that your corners are beautiful.
Yeah, but you've got a good miter corner there,
Yep.
and comes to a nice point on each side.
So now what we're gonna do is run some wood glue on the back of these and secure them into the drawer. Now we're just gonna move all of these boards into place.
Now we're placing a piece of tape everywhere we're going to drive a brad, and this is going to help save us time with the finish work because it's going to let us have a cleaner finish with the wood filler, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second.
Okay, so make sure it's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
These are 1-inch brads.
Yeah, we don't want to go all the way through the drawer.
And mostly, like, the glue is going to hold this into place, but the nails are going to help it stay here while the glue dries.
We're going to use this plastic wood, which is just a wood, gosh, there's a bug flying around my face. A
wood filler.
Paintable wood filler, okay? So I've just got a little bit on a putty knife, and I'm just going to press it into that little nail hole through the tape. And once this dries and we remove it, we have so much less area to sand.
Yeah, it
by
just
doing
makes
this.
it lots less work.
Well, yeah, it just saves you some time in the whole cleanup of before you put your final coat of paint or stain or whatever you're doing. We are now ready to pull off the masking tape, and as you'll see here, there is very minimal amount of sanding to do.
We did fill in the corners a little bit, but other than that.
Yeah, you'll see you just have this teeny bit of sanding, which just makes your life so much easier.
Then you'll use a 220 grit or a 400 and just lightly go over those filled in brad areas. It's super quick and easy to do.
Our final step before we do the last little coat of paint on the drawers is going to be caulking that seam right there. And I'm gonna have Steph do it because she is the expert caulker. Love this little technique that she does. And I probably could learn it if I didn't have my acrylic nails.
Look, I don't have nails, but look.
I know, but my nails get in the way. It fills up behind my nail.
We're going to do this around all the edges of the trim we installed, and then we'll be ready to get the last coat of paint on.
We have taped off the rattan, but you will never get a good seal with tape with a bumpy surface like rattan. And so even though it's taped, I'm still going to come in with just an angled artist brush. And I'm going to just fill in the corner and get that second coat of paint on that inner edge. So I'm just using my angle brush to paint a line there. I don't want to over paint this area because I know that it will just bleed through. And then I'll hate myself for ruining it. But I'm also, the weather has changed so much from when we were working on this Friday, Monday, and it is cold and rainy. And Steph's still dressed for summer, but I've got my coat on. I've got a jacket on because it's chilly for me.
And I am taking the rollers that we used earlier. I'm not even loading them with paint. I'm just using what's in here. After I brush the caulked area, I'm just rolling over the top edges of the molding and the sides of the drawer fronts so they have a nice smooth finish.
After the paint has cured, I'm going to use this spray clear enamel to seal the drawers and the cane, and we'll let that dry. And for the body, we're actually using a different sealer. It still is a matte finish, but we are going to apply it with a lint-free cloth, and it's just a lot quicker this way and a little more economical than the spray as well. We just used that spray on the drawers to cover the cane.
And you're just going to apply it with the, I'm going to go just across this way and then here. And this looks milky white, but it dries clear.
Yeah, and we have used this on several other projects, and we love the matte finish.
Yes.
But yeah, we just didn't want to brush it because we don't want brush marks. So that's why we
using
tested this method, and it works. So we're just going to go for it.
And it's quicker than brushing.
Yes.
By the way, too.
We are going to do 3 coats of this as well, just for its more durable.
Yeah, more durable finish.
But you can already tell where it's starting to dry, and so you can see that it's drying clear.
I found these new modern legs on Amazon, so we're just going to get these installed. It's going to fit nicely right up on the base of the dresser. However, the back of the dresser is in a little bit, so we're going to just do a little makeshift work to build up this thickness of the wood, and we're just using scrap pieces everywhere because I don't want to buy anything. So we're going to secure all this into here so it's nice and sturdy, and then we've created the same thickness so that we can put these legs on. So we're just going to speed this up and get these legs installed. We're securing all of this into place with wood glue and 2-inch brads, so it's not going to go anywhere. We just needed to build up the back surface so that the legs would sit the same.
Now I'm just going to drill for some little knobs. I have them marked.
And here she is in all her glory. Can you even believe that this is the same dresser? I kind of wonder if my great-grandpa is like rolling over in his grave that we did this to the dresser he built, or if he's like, yeah, you girls do what you want to do. Because he did build a ton of furniture. They were not very well to do, and this was just something he did to help them have what they needed. So I kind of think he would be proud of us and fine with what we did, but I really love the way it turned out. I love the clean modern lines. I love the cane on the front. It made such a huge difference to the overall look of this dresser. So let us know what you think down in the comments below, and if you have used cane before, also let us know. Again, this was our 3rd time using it, and I'm sure it's not going to be our last. Be sure to check out these other videos if you want to see some more great makeovers, and be sure to let us know if you have any comments or questions down below. We love hearing from you, and thanks so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, you're a true DIYer at heart. We love having you here, so thanks again. And together we'll bring our homes to the sunny side of the street. We'll see you in the next one.